I am your mother. You listen to me. Stop all the mansplaining. No one's listening. Tell me who gave you the permission to speak. I am your mother. You listen to me. I was binging on Megan Trainor because I am obsessed with her before I came to record this podcast episode. But anyway, it's still stuck in my head. But hi, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is Oliver Rao, and today we are talking about the first dates we will never forget. But before we get into it, I would like to remind you that there are partnership opportunities on this podcast. If you'd like a product placement, you can check out my YouTube and see how your product will look like. If you're streaming on any other site, including YouTube, you can sponsor an episode or a season. You can have a mention on an episode, or you can run an advertisement on this podcast. I'll be more than happy to partner with you. And for a very long time, I really wanted a light episode. And finally, we found it, guys. These first dates are just fun. So I asked you again, I will remind you, check out my prompts every Thursday. Okay, this time it came late. It came on a Friday morning. But check out my prompts every Thursday. Mid-morning, I'll post out a prompt for the next episode, and then you can contribute. And you can come here and we share and laugh. And we made it to 1,000. I think we're at 1026 now. Yeah, that's me celebrating. Thank you so much. Oh, you people are amazing. I keep saying I am because you are. Because honestly, I do not think I would make any milestones here. I would be meeting any milestones here without you. My heart is just full. It's bursting out in rainbows and glitter. I am so happy. Thank you so much for all the support. Let's get to our first date. I'll talk about my first. Have I ever had a date? But anyway, we'll get to it. Some of the social media responses I got, I'll start with some comments I saw on Instagram that were interesting. Agiopondo was reiterating what I said in my video. You guys are still going to meet at restaurants and do lovey-dovey things. Honestly, I was surprised that there are people still going out on dates. I haven't been on a date for years. I didn't even know people are loving each other. Nedi Subella says, wait, what would end the date? No? Mnapelekwa? Heri nyinyi. Nedi, what is happening? But you followed it up with another comment saying, first of all, why have I always been the babe paying bills for these men on dates? Why? I would like to know as well. I didn't know it was a problem until I was told. Babe, why are you paying for the dates? I mean, I don't know. Maybe in Scandinavian countries it's a thing. But in Kenya, why are you paying for the dates? Are you the one who initiates the dates? And who are these guys who you go out with and they don't even ask if you want to go Dutch? Like, why? What? I really need to know the full story as to why you've been paying for dates. Why you've been paying for dates. And on TikTok, I'm looking for the comments because, guys, so sometimes I post videos and instead of people consuming the content in the video, people are obsessed with one thing. Like this time I made my hair, I braided my hair. And so you'll find comments about your hair. And I'm just like, guys, there's a topic here. There's an agenda. And yes, thank you for all the warm compliments I'm getting about my hair. I really like it. So Heal the World says, story short, he removed coins, 150. I laughed, still laughing, so I paid all the bill. The audacity to call me back for another date. Okay, so I go out with you and then you get coins. Why are we on a date? Why are we on a date and you know you can't afford it? Why are people booking dates they can't afford, guys? Me, I don't understand. Let me see if I have another comment. Someone else says, baby boy says, I haven't been on a date for years. Me and you, boo-boo, me and you. Nasike Rose says, you go on a first date and you attempt to pay the bill to see if they'll stop you and pay it. Lakini boy child anauliza, utalipa hadi yangu ama? happy. It is the ghetto. I told you, Nairobi dating scene is the Vitongoji Dunis of Vitongoji Dunis. Like, it's the capital of really just ghetto dating. But I'm sorry for people who've had these experiences. I'm sorry. So I did put out a prompt on my social media asking you, what is the first date you will never forget? This didn't have a lot of responses, but I got a few like longer short stories that I'll read later. But here are the responses to the prompt. Someone says, I went out with a guy. We didn't know each other much, and surprisingly, we had a lot in common. We didn't even talk that much, but girl, our bodies communicated and we ended up at his place. We got it on at his place. We didn't sleep together, but he's my favorite human now. That is such a beautiful ending. I think I'm enjoying the success stories as well. As much as laughing at the botched ones is fun, the success stories for successful love I think is really, really beautiful. You say we got it on, but you didn't sleep together. I'm confused. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're now together. We love it. We love it for you. Someone else says, my current boyfriend asked me out for a friendship date while we were still friends back in 2021. I loved every bit of that day. Oh, that is so beautiful. This is weird that I'm coming across this comment just when I'm from listening to It's Related, I Promise podcast. And one of the comments was actually, Jules was actually saying she doesn't believe men and women can be friends, like besties. Someone will develop feelings for someone else. So this one, you went out on a date as friends, I guess. But it evolved into something else, right? So I don't know. That is something we'll talk about also later. Can you have friends of the opposite sex? I don't know. Someone else says, the dude bought me a 300 ml of soda that lasted for 4 hours. 300 ml. Okay, guys, let me compose myself. 300 ml of 300 ml of soda is less than 100, boob. What was the intention? What was the intention of this date? You people are doing ridiculous things outside here. I'd really like to understand, especially coming from the perspective of men. What's happening? Is it a must you take someone on a date even if you can't afford it? Can't you tell them to allow you some time to get some money so that you can go on or organize like better dates, do a picnic, or like, I don't know, there's things you can do that are cheaper that won't be necessarily embarrassed. 300 ml. Gosh, I literally gulp a 300 ml of water just standing like this. Give me a minute or less. I'll be gulping down a 300 ml of water. And 4 hours. And baby girl, you just sat there sipping on soda for 4 hours. Hey. Oh yeah. Someone else says, bro, I had Homa. It was a spot in Kilimani. Bro, I had Homa. It was a spot in Kilimani called Ankole or something like that. We are dating right now. A win is a win. That is beautiful. I like the success stories. I know Ankole. It has very nice food. I love the restaurant. That's a good place. That's a good... Set the pace like that. You see, now the girl is yours because you set the pace. You took them to Ankole. That's a good place to go. Someone else says, Che, sijawai pelekwa date. Usijali, there's time. There's time. There's time to go out on a date. Don't you worry, child. Someone else says, my wife took her to see Avengers. She slept throughout. I was like, I'm going to be saving money on dates. You took your wife to the movies. I'm surprised she's actually your wife. What if I don't like movies? Find out what the person you want likes and then do that for them. You can't just take me to the movies, I sleep, and then you decide you're going to save money on dates. No, try something else. But anyway, she's your wife now. So I guess, I don't know, you lulled her to sleep, and that's a good thing. Anyway, someone else says, let's just not talk about it, cause girl, hey, that this, you know the tone of, disappointment, the tone of character development. You know that meme that says, even if you pretend, we know we know you're heartbroken from the way you walk. Yeah, this is that tone. I know Nairobi is not easy. And the last response I got to my direct prompt was, my first date that ended up in marriage was at Java, 7:30 a.m. on a Monday morning. Did you end up dating someone you were meeting for business? Because I would like to understand why you are seated across a table at 7:30 a.m. on a Monday. A win is a win. A win is a win. We don't care. A win is a win. And I'm really, really happy for you. Now, we'll get to the stories that I got that were short, long stories. But we have the whole array of it. We have the entire spectrum, from character development to just funny to success stories. And I love all of it. I am so happy for this episode. You have no idea. I really wanted a light episode, and we have one. I hope it's also one of the episodes that you'll really, really like and laugh at. So here we start. One person sent me this. You want me to narrate the ordeals of a 17-year-old? I was straight out of high school and met this guy on Facebook. Babies, please understand that we used to chat on Facebook, and Messenger was not a thing. Like, if you DM'd directly like you do on Instagram, you'd just find it on the Facebook app or the browser. Opera Mini. I don't know how old this person was, but we had Facebook like on Opera Mini. You'd access Facebook through a browser. Anyways, yes. I was straight out of high school and met this guy on Facebook. We chatted and vibed. Since he was in Nairobi and I was in Nyandarua, we decided to meet at Gilgil. Kumit, since we had nothing planned, tukaamua kuzurura Gilgil. The weather looked good and none of us was familiar with Gilgil, so tukaenda exploring and hiked up a hill huko outskirts. We stayed there for a while, but as clouds started to gather, tukaamua kurudi Gilgil town. Let me tell you, hatukuenda mbali before tulichapwa na mvua as if it was revenging for us meeting up and making out. I know you are so young. You are thinking maybe meeting a boy and kissing a boy is such a sin. The Lord has sent thunder to strike you. Let's just say both of us went home damp from the rain, and my jeans ilipaka some clothes rangi. It's been a while since I saw a fading cloth, like a cloth that, what is it called? Drains color. I don't know, it's been a while, but anyway, things didn't work out with the guy, and I went off on him for ghosting me after I went to campus far away from where he was studying. But I can look back on that memory with fondness. Young love. Young love is truly beautiful. Young love is truly beautiful. But I don't think I have many stories of young love. I am really a late bloomer and really slow at romance. I think this story made me laugh so hard when I read it. It was so beautiful and such a beautiful memory to look back to. And I'm just thinking, young love it is. Yes, young love. I got another story. This one starts, where Olive. So let me tell you, Maina, nothing good ever begins like this. It was Valentine's Day, and somebody's son, who was a really good friend of mine and never once showed any signs of wanting me, asked me out on a date. Tebu Sema confused because not for a second did I ever think ati he'd ask me out. My adrenaline decided that it was time to showcase, and so I declined the date and told my girlfriend about it. Tell me why my friend supported this guy, took my phone and pretended to compare its features to hers, ended up replying to this guy with a yes, I'll be your Valentine. So a few minutes later, my guy friend responds and even calls to let me know that he'd booked a restaurant and he's coming to pick me up at 6 p.m. Sema stress because I wasn't mentally prepared for a date. So ilibidi nianze kufigure out what to wear plus makeup and stuff. Fast forward to 6 p.m. The guy came and to my surprise, he took me to a 5-star hotel. I was so mesmerized and my face could tell how happy I was. Juu sijai jipeleka ama kupelekwa kwa 5-star hotel. Nice. Here comes the embarrassing part. So the waiter came and set our table, and mark you, we were the youngest couple in that hotel. The food was self-service since it was kind of a buffet. Tell me why I asked this guy, mbona hakuna vijiko? And I had already seen the waiter set the table. I was like, fuck, sasa how will this dude take me for na vile I am a bougie girl? Where? Mi ukumbuka hadi leo nacheka tu. Please text this guy and tell him you forgot the forks were on the table, the cutlery were on the table. So, I know it's embarrassing. How young were you? I feel like you'd have thrown it off, shrugged it off with probably a joke or something. I don't know. But yes, I know those moments. You know those moments that you remember at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night? Yes. But I'm happy that it was a 5-star hotel, that you got a good experience. I'd like to know if there was a second date or did this guy just think, okay, this girl. So the first time I read this story, I told her, the professional wedding attender I knew came out. You know how in weddings you go get served at the buffet table, and then at the end is where you pick your cutlery. So maybe that's what was in her head at the time. I don't know, and maybe you're also nervous. Dates are not easy to navigate as well. I am so sorry, but that made my day as well. Another story I got, long story was, mine is long, I'll just write it here. More than happy. Guy came with his friends to school to pick me up. I had another first date with another person. I just ignored him and interacted with his friends. He got bored and left. I got the chance to go on the other date, which by the way ended up being a double date, with a friend of the guy who we didn't have a date with. First guy scheduled another first date, just the two of us. We talk, I let him know I'm seeing someone else. Guy does not believe me. Takes me to a photo shoot with another group of his friends. One of them recognizes me as Nani's girl. Boy gets mad and blocks me everywhere. Anyway, I got a good friend from that interaction. I felt like this was just so messy. It just felt like Tom and Jerry. Like everything was okay. What's up with this guy? Why is he coming to pick you for a date and comes with his friends? And then gets mad when you don't talk to him and goes about his business and comes back and sets a second date. And you tell him I'm actually seeing someone. He refuses to believe you and takes you to accompany him to a place where his friends are again for a photo shoot. And here a friend recognizes you as the girlfriend to someone he knows, and it's not this boy. And this boy gets mad and blocks you everywhere. There's pieces of this story that is missing, but at the end of the day, I'm sure it will still be messy. But anyway, you got a friend. A win is a win. A win is a win, right? Another short story I got was, hey, Olive, so down with it. Knowing I'm also a student, I called her to town for an evening coffee date. Let me tell you, Olive, she ordered stir-fried rice and fish. She knew I was broke but didn't bother to pay for it. Ilibidi niambie madhe wamesema tulipe pesa ya field research. Thereafter, I confronted her, but she said I was petty. We broke up. Oh my goodness, that was not even gonna last. Because, okay, here's the thing. Let me just establish this. This is my opinion. I'm saying it out now. My mind might change later. I don't know. I get to consume a lot of things in life, and maybe my mind might change later. I know men are supposed to take care of the bill. Chivalry, the way it was before. Men will take care of the bill. Men are supposed to pay. Men are supposed to have the money. Men are supposed to treat women. Da 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 da. But I think we have gotten to a point where there's some sort of brainwash where you think it's all men. And you really need to weigh like situation by situation, like individual cases. You can't just decide that you're gonna go out on a date and this man is gonna pay. And there's things like we expect men to have money. But can you judge the situation? If both of you are students, you don't have the money to pay for stir fry and fish, where is he going to get money for stir fry and fish? If you're dating someone older who's working, if you're dating someone older, probably a sugar daddy, if you're dating someone older who has access to more money, you're dating someone richer, I don't know. You should judge the case. And if you don't want to date someone who doesn't have the kind of money for the kind of treatment you want, do not date them. But I will also, I don't know if I can fault the guy here because he clearly did state that he doesn't have money. That's why it was a coffee date. And I don't know. Wow. This idea of just, if it's people at the same level as you, please be considerate. This is to the women. I know you've been taught a lot of quite the hypergamy match, but hypergamy is also very targeted. If you want to date someone for money, if you want to date and get a certain treatment from your partner that will cost money, go for partners who have that money. Don't go for partners who do not have that money and then pressure them into getting to whatever this is. Anyway, I was not impressed. You're laughing throughout this message. But I don't think that relationship was going to work anyway. The fact that you told her about it and she says you were petty, I was like, yo. And the fact that you're actually dating. Were you dating or was it... Were you going to now start dating her? Anyway, my 2 cents on that. Date people within your tax bracket. What is it called? Your financial bracket? Yes, please. It helps a lot. The pressure. And let's be considerate also. Let's be considerate. If someone who's asking you out doesn't have money, just ask them if it's something they can manage, or what can they manage so that you don't have these situations. I'm glad your mom came through so fast. I was like, what if she had to say, let me look for money and send it to you. You just linger around the hotel for a couple of more hours. I don't know. Anyway, another response I got says, "Hi Olive, I love your podcast. They usually keep me company on my way home. I love that. I want to be the warm, huggy friend in your ear when you're going somewhere." Okay, so story time. In February 2021, a dude sent a DM to me. One thing led to another and he wanted us to meet. I'm an introvert and COVID really magnified it. So I kept pushing it until one day I decided to just go with the vibe. As a norm, I don't go on dates without money. And I order what I can pay for myself. So the D-Day comes. As normal, I prepared myself well. We talked before I left home and decided where we are meeting. I arrived early. Anyways, that's what I thought. I ordered my cocktail as I waited. I called the dude, but a lady picked up the phone asking who I am. As angry as I was, I proceeded to order food because why get hurt with an empty stomach? Very wise. For a minute there, I forgot about the curfew. Hey. Now, in a hurry, I asked for a cab that took ages to arrive. As I was waiting, a guy came where I was standing and said, hi, and asked if we can be friends. And I was like, okay. I was only thinking about the curfew and could not even remember about him the next day. Days later, he called. We talked, and now 2 years later, we are still together. And he doesn't tire to remind me how we met. He calls it predestined destiny. I don't know about you, but in one night, I got hurt and met the best person I know. I also said the other guy was a blessing in disguise. Like the first date was a blessing in disguise because in one night you met whoever is the love of your life right now. You ate to fill, you had a beautiful solo date, and you dodged a bullet. So what was that other guy thinking? Was he getting ready to leave and then the wife caught him in his lie? Man. But this was such a happy ending. I am so happy for it. I love it for you. Beautiful, beautiful. This is one of the most fun episodes I've had in a while, and I really, really love it. Do I have any date stories? Any weird date stories? So there is this guy, let me tell you, this wasn't, I don't know if I should call it a date, because I don't even think, I don't remember feeling anything for him. I don't know if he was pursuing me. Also, I'm very, very horrible at picking up subliminals. If you like me, just come over and tell me, Olive, I want to go on a date with you and I want to be your boyfriend. Tell me. I do not know how to read between the lines, okay? So I can't, a lot of times I don't know whether someone is hitting on me or someone is flirting with me. I usually just think people are being nice or kind, right? So I can't say for a fact that I know that this was a date. Anyway, this guy, looking back now, I see his character was a bit questionable. This guy was in Nairobi at the time, and I was in Kisumu because I was in school. Yeah, so I was in Kisumu. I don't know, where did we meet? Was it online? I think things to do with music. So we started chatting, and Luo men, assemble. Why are you like this? This guy would brag. He'd just brag, unprovoked. You wake up in the morning to a message of a random guy just bragging. I was like, yo, Tulia. And at the time, I wasn't conversant with Nairobi. So people in Nairobi would make it look like the rest of the country is missing out on something. So he used to brag a lot. And there's this time now he came to Kisumu and he was like, can we meet? He said, we're going to meet at Kisumu Hotel. Being the wise girl that I am, and being the girl who is infested with traumas, I know that I'm not going to go on a date without my own money. And Kisumu Hotel for a student is not fair rate. Like, even if you had money, it would dent your pocket. So what I did, I ate somewhere to fill and then came to Kisumu Hotel. I arrived in time. Of course, I have anxiety, so I have to be there on time. I got there on time. He wasn't there yet. I ordered juice. But then my juice came and I was like, let me tell you, being anxious is such a bad thing. Because you think of multiple scenarios, you think of multiple outcomes, and you're thinking of how you're going to get a solution to each of these outcomes, right? So at that point, when I get my juice, I tell the waiter, I will pay for my juice. So I pay for my juice before even my date comes. So he comes, he orders juice as well. He orders the same thing as me. And we sit and talk for a while. And now I'm thinking, okay, it's time to go home. He actually asks, do you want to order food? I said, no, I am fine. The juice works for me. So towards now going home, he asks for his bill. So his bill comes. He doesn't even look at the bill. He goes, so are we going to go Dutch or you're going to pay for this? Wait a minute. So I just told him I already paid for my juice. So it's just his that he needs to pay for. And the amount of embarrassment in his face, I will never forget it. And I was just like, nigga, please. But at the time, I wasn't expecting him to pay. I was just like, what is this? Oh, wait. What he said that made me feel like that was he said, in Nairobi, we split bills. Like he said it as if Nairobi is a Scandinavian country. It's those, he said it as if it's a culture in Nairobi for people to split bills. In Nairobi, men don't pay for women's bills because women have their own money. It's like that vibe. So I was just looking at him and I was like, okay, I already paid for my juice, so it's only yours. It's only your bill you've taken care of. And his face was awash with embarrassment. First date, I remember. Another first date that I remember was there's this guy I met. How did I meet him? He's my father and his father, I think, were friends. Yeah, somehow, because I met him in like the security of my home. So we talked at the time we had finished Form 4. We talked about what we are going to pursue in campus. We used to talk at that time, but then we lost touch completely for right about 4 or 5 years. I'd even forgotten he existed. So there's this one day he contacts me and he's like, "Hey Olive, how have you been?" I'm like, "I'm good. Nice to hear from you. It's been a while." So this is not someone I was dating. This is not someone I even considered a prospect. Never ever looked at him like that. You know, people whom you've met through family, there's a weird vibe there. I don't think I would date you. I mean, this is not some royalty family shit that we date within some particular families. Anyway, so he calls, he tells me, "Oh, should we I'd really like us to meet for a date." I'm thinking, okay, cool. You set up the date and tell me when and where. He sets up the date. He tells me when and where. He actually sends a cab to pick me. So I get there before he does, actually. But he was finishing something at work. But his workplace was not far from where we were meeting at the restaurant. So this guy comes and I sat across a table of someone who was giving me, I guess, a pilot pitch of some sorts. This guy just went ahead and sold himself for, it wasn't even 5 years. It was so long because it was almost recently. I felt like I was moving towards my 30. But anyway, it was more than 5 years. So this guy, it just felt like a pilot pitch. He told me, "Oh, I'm so good with kids. Even my nephews and nieces come to my house." He showed me pictures of his house, how his house is neat, how it's so nice, how his future wife will enjoy being his wife. He told me so many things. He's just like, he has a stable job, or there's this money that came in, or he just got a promotion. He moved from company A to company B, and all he was just like pitching. And this entire time, this guy doesn't care for what I have to say. He doesn't care what I've been up to the past couple of years. What have I achieved? This guy is just like, this is, I'm a good father. I'm a good brother. I'm a good son. I'm a good husband. I'm a good, all those things. It's just like piling and piling. And all this while, what he kept asking, whenever now he'd pose a question to me, it was just, if, are you single? What is your prospects on marriage? And I'm just looking at him and I'm like, that's not something I'm thinking about right now because I'm trying to chase money here and there and it's not stable. And then he'd pick it up and then tell me how money won't be a problem with his wife. And I'm just thinking, I don't know about your wife. I don't know about this, your future wife. Is it me you're planning to be your future wife? Like, I just sat through an entire pitch. And he just went on and on about how he's so good at everything. And finally, he was just like, I want to be serious. I want to settle down. I'm like, okay, good for you. But I don't know. He kept insinuating it's me he wants to settle down with. I am such a proper person. I'm such a woman that he admires. Our families would be so happy to have people who they both know settle down together. I am I was so tired. I was so freaking tired. I was just exhausted. And honestly, to date, I usually prefer to be stood up. If I'm going on a date, I've already dealt with all the anxiety there is to deal with for me to be sitting there waiting for you. There's already all the anxiety. If you stood me up, I'd be the happiest. So here is the thing that I learned, I think from one of the responses. I was talking to someone in my DMs and they were like, or even this last girl, she was like, I was heartbroken that someone stood me up. But this is how I started viewing dates. When someone calls me for a date, I think of that day as me taking myself out on a date. So it's them who'll pick the restaurant and all that. So if they stood me up, I still get to have a solo date. If they show up, I guess if they're not as interesting, I just have to vumilia through it and wait for the next time and just not go on a second date. But if they don't show up, I'm always thinking of it as a solo date. It's always a solo date. Or if they change their plans last minute, then I still go as a solo date, because there are times when friends or someone has cancelled on me very last minute. But since I had already, guys, please be aware of people in your lives who have anxiety. Since I was already quite aware of, I plan it in my head. If you told me 26th of July we are meeting for a date, in my head, every day I wake up, my head registers 26th of July. Every single day I wake up. So if I planned to be outside my house on 26th of July, I'll plan for it. If you cancel last minute, I will still go on a date on that day. So it's been easier for me like that. But when it comes to dating generally, that can be a whole podcast episode. But I haven't been dating. I've been celibate for a while. And all this is it's not intentional. I just found myself there because I was protecting my peace so much that I found myself just not dating and just not having sex. But anyway, that's why I was surprised when my friend told me. So I was on a date the other day and I was like, wait, people are actually going out on dates? It's been such a long while. But anyway, yeah, this was a beautiful, beautiful episode. I loved how much I laughed. I'd already laughed at these responses earlier on, and while reading them, they're still very funny. So yeah, loved this episode. I hope you enjoy it as well. And let us continue sharing. If probably the shortest episode I've had in quite a while. But yeah, please, let's share. On Thursdays, mid-morning, check out my socials. I will post out. Now I've started even posting shorts on YouTube. So in case you miss it on my socials, you'll find it on YouTube. I'll post out a prompt for the next episode so that you can contribute. And waiting for episodes. Episodes come out on Monday. Unless life takes over me, you will wake up to an episode every Monday. And if you want to partner with me, please reach out to all your friends, everyone you know who might want to partner with the podcast. And please plug me. Tell your friends to follow me. Now we are at 1,000 subscribers. A win is a win. A win is a win. Stay happy. Go on fancy dates. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Don't go on dates that look fishy. Be happy. Just be happy. Choose happiness. Every single day you wake up, choose happiness. And I am so happy for all the support that you have given me. Until next week. Bye.